Old games die hard. Stuff that's a classic sticks around forever, and a lot of people say, well, what if I use some technical know-how to make this look as good as it can? Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, 10 graphics mods that make drastic improvements. Starting off with number 10, it's Fallout 4's 2022 Improvements mod. Now, Fallout 4 is a game that is really starting to show its age in 2022. It's 7 years old. That's not a new game. And recent years have seen some pretty crazy improvements in graphics, so it's noticeable. And like many Bethesda games, there are countless mods that tweak pretty much everything about the game out there, graphically and otherwise, but you can't just start loading up mods like crazy and expect everything to work. That's where guides like this one created by Caliber are so useful. They give a full explanation on how to mod the game, what mods you need, and what order you should install them, along with recommended settings. It can be a pain to set up. Expect me to say that a lot actually in this video, but the results really speak for themselves. Weather, textures, and whole environments have been overhauled. They look more detailed, they look more realistic, and unlike a lot of other mods in this list, you won't need the biggest beast of a computer to make all these improvements. The guide recommends a 1080 Ti to get the most out of it, and even to play at 60 frames per second, so this stuff shouldn't melt your computer, and it will still make the game look way better. At number 9 is Doom with ray tracing, and let's just be completely frank, drastic isn't a drastic enough word. Doom is a game that is ancient at this point. It's like 30 years old. If you want to return to this classic, though, in an entirely new way, check out this ray tracing mod by Sultum T. Unlike the Fallout 4 mega mod list, which is going to take like an hour or two minimum to get everything set up, this mod is actually very simple to set up. All you have to do is download it, put a copy of the doom.wad in the same folder, and you're good to go. With ray tracing enabled, Doom might as well be a different game. The intense and realistic shadows make it an all-around much creepier experience. I will say, though, it's not a full-blown improvement because in a lot of ways, it makes the game completely different. And it's hard to imagine actually playing the whole game this way because there's certain things that you're just not going to be able to do because visibility is modified so drastically. But it's, a massive step up graphically speaking. Even if the game's geometry and sprites remain completely identical, like it's kind of more of a novelty, but it can make for some really, really cool clips of the game. And I'm sure that people who have the game more committed to memory consider it a really interesting experience. And number 8 is Witcher 3, an already fantastic looking game, to be totally frank. Even though maybe in terms of graphics now, it's not the cream of the crop or anything, it still holds up in art design. There's obviously always room for improvement on an old game, and this massive mod list on ESOUI.com for Witcher 3 has all weather, lighting overhauls, new grass, new clouds, a massive texture overhaul that makes all of the little details of the world look really, really a lot better than their vanilla counterparts. It's all to make, frankly, an already great looking game look even better, and for the most part, it does make a huge difference. The world definitely looks more vibrant and realistic, especially in the textures and small world details. It's another massive and fairly complex mod list, and once again, you don't necessarily have to get everything to make the most out of it, but it'll take some time to get everything configured correctly and working together, to say the least. At least the mod list makes it as easy as possible to put everything together, though. And number 7 is Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Yes, even a console game is getting mods that make it look better. The Revo Rev Shade for Breath of the Wild is a simple reshade pack that does a lot to make Hyrule look a lot better than ever. Installation is a little complicated and a little shady. Like, you gotta use an emulator to get the game running on a PC. But ripping a legit copy of your game is probably the hardest part of the whole process. You know what I'm talking about. The main improvements to this pack are the enhanced reflections, the distant fog removal, and the improved anti-aliasing, on top of the reshade effects that make the world look way less washed out. Like, it sounds like small potatoes, but when it's all combined, the difference is like uncanny. The game looks significantly better in a lot of ways. If a game's popular enough, people will find a way to mod it, even when all the standard methods of modding are not possible. Breath of the Wild is, of course, a modern classic, but with a game stuck on aging Nintendo hardware, it's just not maybe as visually impressive as it could be, and this mod changes that. Wow, does it change that. And number 6 is Skyrim. It's a mod list. And this is another year, another set of ridiculous mods that basically turn Skyrim into a new game. As shown in the video by Shoddy Cover on Reddit, the combination of mods looks amazing, but it can even cause the most powerful PCs to, I don't want to say catch on fire, but they're gonna run hotter than they need to be. The actual mod list isn't quite as bad as some of the other ones we've seen on this list, but it's far from short. The main highlights here are the enhanced lights and special effects, the vivid weather, the grass, the landscape overhauls, the realistic water, and a lot of new armor sets that, well, I'd considered optional in terms of what the thing actually is. I'm still playing Skyrim more for nature's splendor more than anything else, and with all these mods installed, it transforms the fairly barren environment into a really lush place filled with dense forests. These are the kinds of graphics mods where it's almost hard to tell it's the same game. That's how much of an improvement it is. The only issue is that unless you got a beast of a machine, you're not going to be getting frame rates much higher than the single digits, if that. But if you've got a PC that can handle it, there's some pretty impressive stuff to do. And number 5 is Final Fantasy 13. Now this one was created by Green Thumb 2. These mods make some really massive improvements to the PC version of Final Fantasy 13 by updating a lot of the textures, enhancing the models, and upscaling the full motion videos to display in 4K, along with a lot of other improvements. Like, for instance, Lightning's cutscene model is the one that's just used throughout the whole game now. Now, it's something that I have to say that, like, the improvements aren't always noticeable. There are some times in this game where, I mean, this is one of those games that looks its age. That being said, where it does look better, it looks a lot better. The character models particularly stand out in the in-game cutscenes. Not quite up to the Final Fantasy VII remake, obviously, in terms of quality, but the improvements are there. And if you want to play this game in 4K, you really need this stuff. I think a lot of people are probably going to make a comment about the gameplay of Final Fantasy 13, but it has a dedicated fan base. There are people that enjoy it, and frankly, when it came out, it was a good-looking game, so it's nice to see it kind of see a little bit of love. It's definitely not my favorite of the Final Fantasies, but it's definitely good to see it looking better. And number 4 is TIE Fighter Total Conversion. The original TIE Fighter is considered a classic by many people. But it's a game that can be really hard to go back to these days, for more than a few different reasons too. But with this Total Conversion mod, it brings the game into a modern age. To say that the original game looks a little primitive is a massive understatement. It's basically a bunch of flat polygon models floating around in a black void. This mod looks a little bit better, I'd say. It's almost pointless to point out all of the improvements. I mean, look at it. It doesn't even look like the same game. It's a huge step up in terms of graphics and detail. This mod, it includes all the 76 campaign missions from the original game and its expansions, as well as the remastered versions of the original's campaign battles that expand on the originals to make them more cinematic, reactive, and a little more modern. They even totally remastered the game's original soundtrack. So this mod's the real deal. Getting it installed isn't that difficult either. If you're ever curious about TIE Fighter but couldn't get past the aged graphics of the original, this mod is how you gotta play it. And number 3 is Final Fantasy VII AI upscaling. Yeah, of course the Final Fantasy VII remake looks fantastic. It's pretty much a new game. But what if you want to go back and play the original game? Then this mod is for you. The unaltered Final Fantasy VII experience, but fully high definition. Instead of the blurry as hell backgrounds of the original game, the Satsuki Yatoshi mod displays everything in crisp detail. They did this using AI upscaling, and they didn't just like, put it all through AI. That wasn't the process. They painstakingly converted every screen in the game by hand to make it all look just like the original except for sharper. Basically, it's Final Fantasy VII like you remember it. Trying to go back to the original after experiencing this mod feels weird. The improvements are really massive, but they also don't feel out of place. The installer is also easy to use and pretty granular, so you can tweak everything as much or as little as you want. It's just an all-around essential mod for the original version of Final Fantasy VII. If I were Square Enix, I would purchase this from this man and simply release it. At number 2 is Kingdom Come Deliverance, the 2022 update. Already an impressive game, but modders have gone above and beyond to make the world of Kingdom Come look more realistic than ever. For this entry, we're using the Apex Realistic Modding Guide, created by Digital Dreams, which compiles a large selection of tweaks and graphics mods that, when all combined together, make major improvements to the visuals of the game. There's a lot of quality of life stuff as well, like a basic skip intro mod, but there's also a lot of impressive graphics ones, like shadows for lights, which enables shadows on all of the lights, and the volumetric fog shadows, which, I mean, it adds so much depth to so many of the scenes. The last two major additions are the Apex Reshade, which makes days more vivid and nights more intense, and the Ray Tracing Reshades by Pascal Glitcher, which basically make the shadows and lights look more spectacular and realistic than ever. And finally, at number 1 is Batman Arkham Knight, also the 2022 update. Despite its rocky PC launch, Batman Arkham Knight is frankly still an amazing looking game. Unlike a lot of stuff on this list, there's not a ton of mods to improve on things, but the ones that do make a pretty noticeable difference. Mostly what we're seeing online are reshades. Like for this video, we're using Prod 80s shaders along with Ashen 2077, the reflective surfaces reshade they made, and once again Pascal Glitcher's really impressive ray trace shaders. Like Arkham Knight loves its rain and its neon lights, with all the glowing to just bask in, working perfectly with the shaders to make Gotham City very vivid, very exciting, and frankly hardware intensive. Even with our beast of a PC in the office, we notice some slowdown when playing around with the open world, but the result kind of speaks for itself. These mods make the game look practically new. It's amazing. That's all for today. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription, so click subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications, and as always, thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter, Falcon the Hero. We'll see you next time, right here on GameRanx.